There's a lot on. I don't know. Good evening, and welcome to the April 10th, 2025 Jersey City Zoning Board of Adjustment. This meeting is held in accordance with NJSA 10:4-12, the Open Public Meetings Act. I would like to call this meeting to order. I'm asking Mr. Beasley, can you please take attendance? Roll call.
Yes, I see Commissioner Barron, Commissioner Boyle, Commissioner Burns,
Here.
Commissioner Allen,
Here.
and Vice Chair Rule,
Here.
and Chair Coyle,
Present.
and we have quorum.
Thank you. Okay, are there any sunshine announcements that you would like to share with us?
Yes, in accordance with the Open Publics Meeting Act, notice has been provided to Bergen Record, LS Bolito, as well as posted with the city clerk. I'd like to mark this into evidence as B1. Vinny?
Vinny?
What?
He's putting something into evidence.
B1, yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Iris, can you swear in staff?
Staff, do you swear that the comments and testimony you will provide this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Thank you. I see Beasley, Sophia Pereira, Tanya, and Joseph. Thank you.
Okay. Eric, are there any correspondence or adjournments that you need to share with us?
No correspondence or adjournments to share at this time, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
Thank you. So before we begin, I would just like to let everyone know that we will not begin any new cases after 10 o'clock. And any members of the public that have any comments, they will be limited to 3 minutes. And Mr. Allen will be timing everyone. Okay. So our first case this evening is 285 and a half 3rd Street, which is case Z2025-0022.
Is that better?
Yes. I thought we were doing this.
Apologies. So good evening, everyone. Michael Higgins on behalf of the applicant, Joseph Linz. This is a project that was previously approved back in December 3rd of 2020. The approval is expired. The applicant's seeking an extension to December 3rd of this year to procure financing and complete the project. That's essentially the...
Did you say December 3rd? Because it's showing here that you're looking for 3 one-year extensions.
Yes. Yes. December 3rd, 2020. It expired December 3rd, 2022. So the 3 extensions would bring this to December 3rd of this year.
Oh. So you want extensions, past tense?
Yes. Yes, correct.
You're
Excuse me.
not
Oh.
looking for 3 years from
Okay.
today forward.
No.
You're looking for 2 back, 1 forward.
Okay,
Past
so
tense, yes.
that's the idea. Okay, so can I ask you, why did you not? Oh, I'm sorry. So, go ahead. Present your case. I was going to say, why hadn't you come forward? Why hadn't the applicant come forward prior?
Yeah, essentially, this is also not a company, an LLC, or an experienced developer. It's a single developer that was constructing a 2-family home. Wasn't familiar with the process here, and really was struggling to procure financing, and right now believes that he's able to complete the project if it's carried until December 3rd of this year.
So I guess the real question is, he didn't contact your office when the first thing expired.
Correct.
To know that he needed an extension.
Correct.
I guess he just thought it was going to go on ad infinitum.
Right.
But, okay, so better yet than, better late than never. So he's here, and
Okay.
we don't have a problem with that, I don't think.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Okay, I would make a motion. Here we go again.
Does anyone want to make a motion?
Yeah, no.
No, I make a motion to, I'm asking for a motion to
Madam
vote
Chair?
on.
Can I just give?
Oh, I'm
some
sorry.
comments
Yes,
really
yes,
quick?
yes.
Sorry.
Haven't met in a while. I kind of lose track. Go ahead. Yes.
Staff just requests that the applicant agree to all the conditions associated with the original approval, but otherwise staff recommends approval.
Okay. So now I am asking for a motion to vote with conditions on Z2025-0022.
All right, so I make a motion to approve Z025022 with addendums? Was that it? With conditions, I'm sorry.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay. Eric?
Okay. Commissioner Barron?
Approve.
Commissioner Boyle?
Approve.
Commissioner Patel, I know you just arrived, so would you like to abstain?
Should be abstain there for now.
Okay. Commissioner Burns?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
Vice Chair Rule?
Yes.
And Madam Chair Coyle?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. I believe that's 6 in favor, none opposed.
Okay.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you.
All right.
You put a Commissioner Patel is here. Thank you.
Okay, our next case is Z20240074. It's number 10 on our agenda items. It's for 137 Arlington Avenue, and the applicant is Annette Carter, and I believe she's representing herself.
Hi. Good evening.
Hand, do you swear that the testimony you will provide this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
State your full name, please.
Annette Carter.
Spell your last name.
Carter. 137 Arlington Avenue. That's Jersey City. You're welcome. Hi.
Good evening.
Hi. Good evening. As I said, my name is Annette Carter, and I'm here this evening to request approval for a C variance relief to allow parking between building and the property line at 137 Arlington Avenue, Jersey City.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, the reason why, when I purchased my home back in 1995, the builder and I had an agreement that he would blacktop my front yard, but that never happened because the builder ran out of funds. He depleted all the funds, and unfortunately, sadly, after that, he passed away. So I wasn't familiar with all the rules of zoning and getting a driveway at that time. And I was dealing with Anne Marie Ubbing. She was the director at Affordable Housing Division at the time. She had requested that each home buyer provide a punch list with any correspondence between us and the developer, which were concerning construction issues. So what we did was we all got together and we provided a punch list, which I have attached to my portal. And the punch list states that on July 29th, 1996, I was submitted to Ms. Ubbing via fax, listing all my construction issues, number 1 through 12. On line number 7 of my punch list, it clearly reads that there was a makeshift walkway that would lead up to my backyard, which I don't have access to my backyard unless I go up my neighbor's driveway. So it was a little path. So he was going to blacktop that, so I have access to walk up and enter my backyard. But I also put on my punch list that the driveway has to be blacktopped. And this is all dated from July 29th, 1996. Over the years, I've met with many people who I thought could lead and assist me in getting this violation issue resolved. I spoke with the council person. I spoke with the advocate, Jersey City Community Advocate. I spoke with Arlington Avenue Block Association president and Parking Authority, zoning. But all I got out of each meet was incorrect information. I didn't know what to do. So as time went on, of course, off-street parking got limited. So I took it, unfortunately, upon myself to make access to pull into my front yard, for safety issues, because parking, I would have to park like 3-4 blocks away every day when I get off work, and, I was a little nervous about that. But what I'm here today is just asking, if you guys would approve a variance for 137 Arlington Avenue, which... Oh, yeah. I'm nervous. I'm sorry.
All nervous.
I'm not used to public speaking. I'm sorry. But yeah, I applied for a driveway parking permit, which I thought was okay for me to park in front of my house. They put these in the windshield of my driveway and I would be okay. Not telling how many fights I almost got into by sticking this in my window and telling people that they can't park here, but I can.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, I stopped doing that. I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to fight with anyone. I just want to come home from work, go in my home, forget something at the store, be able to go out and come back in. But today you can't do that. Now it's like if you forget something at the store, you can forget it. You're not going to find a park. You just have to double park all night, get a ticket the next day. And I'm just looking for relief. I've tried many different options. I've also applied for a ZDL. Is it a ZDL? I applied for a ZDL. Like I said, I spoke with many people. I've been to many on face-to-face meetings with the city of Jersey City. But now I'm ready to do the right thing. And I would like to apply for a C variance for my address of 137 Arlington Avenue. Also,
Go ahead.
that's right. Also, I am at this time being imposed with a $15,000 fine from the Jersey City courts if I don't get a variance from the state of New Jersey. If I don't get my C variance parking, they're going to impose a $15,000 fine, which...
Why?
And I have until July.
Why are they imposing a 15?
Because of the violation.
You can't park in the front unless you...
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm looking at your picture. You have like a cut.
Yeah.
One at a time. I'm sorry.
Okay. Wait. Yes, we can't all talk. Poor Iris. Okay.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
So,
Okay.
Ms. Carter, let's start this way. You've had notice for this hearing, and the notices are proper.
Yes.
So we can
Okay.
get beyond that requirement.
Yes.
But here's number two. When did you blacktop the front yard?
I never blacktopped it.
She didn't black
So
top.
you didn't blacktop it at all?
No.
Did you make a curb cut?
Yes.
What did you do? And
Yeah.
when did you do that?
When? That was around 3 years ago. Yeah, about 2023.
Well, you've been parking there for 2 years.
Yes.
Eventually now, somebody's now giving you tickets.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay.
I have a question.
Is there anyone from, are you finished with your presentation right
Yes.
now? Okay. All right. So, is there anyone from the public who wants to comment on this? Okay. Come forward, please.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Swear you in, please. Raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you'll provide this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
State your full name,
Cheryl Armstrong, Davenport.
Armstrong,
Yes.
and your address is?
98 Clerk Street.
98.
Yes.
What is the street name?
Clerk, C-L-E-R-K.
Okay. Your comments will be limited to 3 minutes, and Mr. Allen will let you know when you have 1 minute left.
Okay, I live in front of her. Clerk Street is first and Arlington is in back of me. So the things that she's mentioning about parking, because I'm going through the same thing. I didn't get a chance to do my variance. I didn't know it was a variance. 'Cause inside my area, I need parking also, because we park all the way over here 3 blocks away, 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's not good.
Yeah. And my daughter comes home, she has no parking at all. I'm the homeowner, and I don't have anywhere to go. But there's properties that have 6 and 7 cars, and they just stack up. They're allowed to block, counter block. When you put your car and save spaces, they save spaces.
Yeah.
Nobody sees that. Then there's people that come from other areas, from around here, and park for days. So when you're a homeowner, I think you should be allowed to park.
Yeah.
Whether it's via handicap, if you have a place, it should be constructed that you can park at least one car. We're not asking for a portal where you have 6 or 7 cars like a limousine service. We're not asking that for at all. And to verify about safety, it's not safe in Jersey City. Everybody knows that. We girls. And your husband cannot be with you every minute of the day. okay? So we do care about where we live, and I've been on Clerk Street since 69. I never seen such inhumane and how we are. We so, what is that, dominant?
Yeah.
We dominant and selfish. If you know like you can change sometime. Take turns. Don't save the space, but take turns. Communicate. I'm coming home at 6 o'clock. I'm getting ready to leave, or just phone or something. It's just terrible how we being treated as homeowners. I own my house, and I've been on the block, like I said, since 69. I think it's unfair and unjust. So I need somebody to show me how I'm going to get my process done, too, legally, without getting a ticket.
The woman right next to you.
That's right.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Do any of the commissioners have any questions
have
or
a question.
comments?
When you cut the curb,
Yes.
did you park across on the street to block the driveway or whatever?
Yes, sometime I do,
Okay.
yes.
And then you're not allowed to do that.
No, that's what I'm told. See, I'm not too familiar with the laws, the zoning laws, but they do so I was pulling in my front yard. So
Miss Carter,
Yeah.
I'm going to put it up just so people can see what you're talking about.
Thank you.
So when you purchased this house, when you purchased this home, it was with the understanding that that driveway was provided, and they just didn't put the top down, the asphalt
Right.
down for you to pull in there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I even had to put my own concrete, everything. It was incomplete.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see that you have the curb cut,
Yes.
and then do you open up the gate and park there?
Yes.
Is that where you want the parking garage?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, all right.
Oh, in here.
For whatever reason, it's not coming up on.
But we have it in front of us.
Oh, you
Yeah,
do
we
have it.
We
Okay,
have it.
good.
We can see it. That's why I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
So I have one. The gate was already there. Or was that a gate that you put in?
The gate was there.
Okay. Even the swinging open. Like,
The swinging open? No, I kind of.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So you cut the curb in front of the gate.
Yes.
She's a curb cutter.
I heard that.
Is that next to that? That's the blue house? Is that their
That's their driveway, and that's the driveway I have to walk up to get to my back entrance. There's no back doors on these homes either.
So you
No
drive up
side.
there?
Huh?
You drive all the way in?
Yeah, they drive all the way in. They can park in the back.
Or the other house?
The other house, yeah. That's
Gotcha.
not my property.
Okay. Do any other commissioners have any questions? Okay, if not, could we hear from, I closed the public portion of the meeting, okay?
And I live on the second floor. Yes. Yes. I even looked into that. I called Trenton. They're like, well, they were approved. That's what they told me.
Okay, can we hear from staff then?
Okay. You ready for the whole boring long history?
Can you give us a truncated version?
Wish. This is my albatross is this front yard parking. So originally, when our first zoning ordinance was adopted in the 50s, front yard parking wasn't even really considered. Around 1975, the city council amended under Mayor Cucci, actually, that you would be allowed to have front yard parking. It was very limited to 1 and 2 family houses. They said you could do it in the like the side yard, the rear yard, and the front. And they said that you had to have 20 at first, and then they went down to 18. And so if you are remembering some of our other applications, we have parking dimension standards, usually 8.5 wide by 18 feet long. So that's the parking standard that we've really kept through the years. In 2000, we changed the whole zoning ordinance and prohibited front yard parking. So how that looks on the other side, because I'm sure you're saying there's front yard parking everywhere in Jersey City. Mm-hmm. So the zoning officer is allowed to basically grandfather something. And the way that you grandfather something, the MLUL leaves it a really clear kind of path. You have to prove that it was legally existing at the time that it was legally allowed, right? So I got permits to do it when it was legally allowed. In a place like Jersey City, sometimes that's very difficult. So you can take I can say at this point, I take somewhat of a liberal view on it, and I say if you can prove to me that prior to at least 2000, when I know for certain that the law was changed to not allow front yard parking, that you had it, we can talk about grandfathering. Now, that doesn't take into consideration that this is, I know it sounds like a lot, but it is important. The zoning officer prior to me was saying as long as I could go on Google Street View and see that you had a parking space in 2007, I was grandfathering it. Now, there's two things that are happening. One is the front yard parking, and two is the curb cut. And those are two separate things because you're allowed to get a permit to park in front of your curb cut. So sometimes Nick would go out and he would say, that curb cut has been there since 2007, which is as far back as Google Street View goes, which is why 2007 was picked. And he'd say that curb cut was there since 2007, so I'm going to give you this driveway parking permit, which is probably what happened here in this instance. Because you can see, if you were driving by as the inspector, you'd say, oh, that looks like a shared parking easement situation, and maybe sign off on it. So at some point, Ms. Carter did have on the books a legal park in front of your driveway permit. But he was not taking into consideration that most likely, if you had a curb cut, you were parking. So one doesn't really exist without the other. And so a lot of times that kind of leniency allowed for front yard parking that wasn't existing before 2000. And by doing that, I think the numbers were kind of crazy. We let in like another couple thousand parking spaces that would maybe not have met the legal standard for grandfathering. So we're in the post-apocalypse of dealing with how do we deal with these illegal parking spaces. So my view on this as a zoning officer has been, show me that you've had this space since 2000, and I won't even take into consideration that you don't have 18 feet, which means that you wouldn't have gotten it in the first place. Right? Where I draw the line is that your car is going to go into the sidewalk because, one, that's illegal in the zoning code, and two, that's illegal as far as the police are concerned even, and you need a franchise for that. So those are the lines that I'll draw. In this instance, Ms. Carter is the first, and I have been doing this for 18 years, where I'm recommending that you consider approval. Okay. And I'll say that why. We talked about this, I know, at the last meeting, and those words are unique and specific. And I think that there is a history here. This building was taken down and rebuilt by the JCRA as a part of a program, and even though when the planning board approved it, they said no front yard parking, the rest of the houses that were built under this have front yard parking. So you're talking about all the other, this is just one, so this was like a scattered sites program. Mm-hmm. And in this instance, Ms. Carter has 23 feet in front. She didn't take up any landscaping to do it. She just paved down two kind of just driving strips. So I'm going to kind of show you where I'm talking about what the difference is. So you can see that Ms. Carter has a lot. 23 feet, and she's just on the two lines. That's going to be different from the fact that there's I did this, 24 properties entirely on this block. 6 of them have garages, which means they have legal curb cuts, and 3 of them have shared easements, driveways, so those are legal curb cuts, and 4 of them I've given violations to, besides Miss Carter here. These houses here, even though they have legal curb cuts, and you guys can't see it. Yeah. I'm looking, just for the reference, I'm looking at 149 to 153 Arlington. Even though they have garages, they do not have enough room for front yard parking. So if they got a violation for front yard parking, it's because their car was hanging out on the sidewalk. What?
Like the red car.
Yeah. Like the red one right there, actually. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then in some instances, a lot of those are actually obvious. So here's a violation that was given. You can kind of see it's a neighbor right here. They took the landscaping out that was over here and replaced it with a carport. And that is a 100% clear violation. And these are the things that we see pretty consistently. So something like, I'm not 100% sure which address is. I think this may be 124. No, that wouldn't make any sense because you're on the odd side. whatever this one is, you can kind of see. I know for the record, it should be a little bit more clear, and I apologize. That even though in this instance there may be 18 feet, and I'm not sure if there is because I have not done the measurements for it, it is not the same scenario as Miss Carter's, where Miss Carter does have the building with the 23 feet, where there is a legal history here of a contract and a whatever with JCRA. Anne Marie Hubings was a person who did JCRA. She eventually became the HEDC director. I don't know if you remember. And again, a lot of these other houses do have the front yard parking. So, I mean, there's a lot of things for you to consider, but I want to be really careful that we don't create a precedent. It really does make a difference. It makes my life very difficult because we shouldn't be granting these things by variances. We should really just be thinking about new policy, if that's what we're going to do. But I will say that if you do consider, and you guys want to talk amongst yourselves about it, if you're going to recommend it, that only I ask for a street tree. And that's the nuts and bolts of my.
Yes.
She could put the we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Or we won't, but we'll
Put it in Union City.
What if we work on it together?
So
Okay.
I have one more question, Tanya. So she has to redo the whole curb and sidewalk, correct? Or that curb cut suffices?
Did you remove the curb cut?
No.
No, the curb cut's still there, and the curb cut is 10 feet. So
Okay.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
The curb cut is 10 feet already.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, do you have a question, Peter? No, I thought Peter had.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the tree. If you were to put the driveway adjacent to the sidewalk, then there would be room on the right-hand side, as we're looking at this photograph, to put a tree.
On the right-hand side.
So basically, the
said
driveway
I don't
would
like
butt up
it.
against to the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
That means that you have space on the right, and you would have to
Like in
you'd
front
have to
of
do
the gate?
something. Actually, you wouldn't have to do anything with the gate because the gate already opens up far enough. But there would be room on the front for a tree on the right-hand side.
On the right side. That's why the
Because
black
right now your driveway is centered on that green
But they
space,
can
pretty
put
much.
it-
But if you butted it up against the sidewalk, then there is enough room on the right-hand side for a tree.
Yeah, you can put those little
Okay,
ones.
and Miss Marion will be working with you on that. Miss Marion will be working with you on that, I'm sure.
Okay.
Okay, so is any other additional comments or, okay, so I am asking for a motion to vote on case number Z2024-0074.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve KZ 2024-0074 as presented to the board this evening.
With conditions.
With conditions.
Okay. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay.
Commissioner Patel,
Aye.
Commissioner Allen,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Burns, Commissioner Barron,
Approved.
Vice Chair Rule,
Yes.
Madam Chair Coyle.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve this application. 7 in favor, none opposed.
Okay, good.
Thank you, everyone.
Get that property paved, okay?
Thank you.
Get it paved and good luck.
Okay.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, moving forward, our next case will be case Z2025-0013. It's for 80 Broadway. It's on our agenda as carried forward from March 6th.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Good evening, Commissioners. Gerard Pizzillo from Genova Burns on behalf of the applicant, Avenir West Square LLP. Appearing, this is for a site plan amendment. We did carry from the last meeting. I did provide another notice of our application for our appearance this evening. I did upload it to the portal, so I would ask if I may approach the dais and present to council for his review.
I've looked at it on the portal. These things comply, so Iris, you want to mark that as A1?
So I appreciate the time, Commissioners. Sorry. My bad. So thank you, Commissioners. Before you this evening is a very minor amendment to a project that this board previously approved under case Z19-008. At that time, the board approved preliminary and final major site plan for a mixed-use project consisting of one building of various stories, 5 to 12 stories, with 477 dwelling units, about 9,000 square feet of retail space, and a number of parking spaces. The application before you doesn't change any of that. Rather, there are minor refinements to the building that's under construction right now. The majority of the changes that we're presenting you this evening are all interior, related to the ground floor, some mechanical revisions, and tenant programming. The only other change that we're requesting this evening is for signage bands along the exterior, denoting the retail spaces. They are all compliant. This is a R3 zone. So the way the R3 zone works is signages are permitted for every 1,000 square feet of retail. So ultimately, there will be 11,000 square feet of retail. So there's 11 signs proposed. These are just the signage bands. So any applicant or any tenant who wants to change their sign or do something different would have to come to this board or consult with city planning to make that happen. And that whether that requires an approval, is subject to that, to that determination at the time. Those are the changes that we're requesting this evening. I have one witness, Bruce Stevie, our architect of record, who will run you through them. I will note none of these changes exacerbate, worsen any of the previously approved variances, do not create any new variances, and the presentation should be rather quick. So unless the board has any questions for me, I'll turn it over to Bruce and he can run you through.
We'll hold our questions till the end.
Sure. Thank you, Chair.
What did he say?
I do. Bruce Stevie. Stieve.
Not him. Not them.
Okay. My name is Bruce Stevie. I'm a principal in the firm of Marchetto Higgins Stevie Architecture. We're located in Hoboken, New Jersey. I'm a licensed architect of the state of New Jersey since 1996. My license is in good standing. I've appeared before this board before.
We accept your expertise.
Thank you so much. Let's see if I can get this to work. So tonight we're here. We're here tonight again to discuss the amendments to the site plan for the West Side project. This project has received a few amendments over the years. Back in 2019, it received some amendments, and again in 2022. The project is previously an industrial site that's being rehabilitated into a residential project. Construction started on the project in 2023. The project is going to occupy the entire block. And see if I can do my pointer here in the center of the site. It'll be and the site is approximately 86,000 square feet. As was mentioned, the project's currently under construction. Work is advancing quickly. This is a more recent photograph, and I believe it's even further along since because we're going to present at the beginning of the month. This amendment addresses a series of interior adjustments to the project. One was a slight increase in the retail square footage. The second was a reconfiguration and development of the ground floor, including amenity uses. Then, as was mentioned, mechanical equipment locations have shifted slightly on the roof of the building, and as was mentioned, building signage. So the first adjustment was as the parking was laid out in the basement, a few areas that were underutilized are now being used as storage and mechanical areas. Those are highlighted in red outlines on the drawings that you see. No parking was lost, and the spaces are located in the corners of the garage that are inefficient for parking. Second is the ground floor plan. This shows the adjustment of the retail square footage. So in the 2022 amendment, the retail was reduced slightly. That was basically after COVID. The market for retail was slowing down. So at that time, the developer looked to reduce the amount of retail. Obviously, that's bounced back, and retail is robust again. So we're going back to the square footage of 11,815 square feet of retail space. This is slightly smaller than the original approval, but that's the new square footage for retail. In addition, building amenities have been developed, including co-working areas, a revised fitness area, guest suites, and a cafe space that has been added to the lobby. Next, I have a rendering of the interior of the building. So again, as I mentioned, this project's been developing, continuing to develop, and so this is just this gives you a flavor of what the interior lobbies are going to be like and the amenity packages for the building. This next view shows the interior of the lobby looking back towards a grab-and-go area in the building. And the interiors of the building have been designed to reflect the character of the architecture of the outside of the building. The next changes that the revisions that we're proposing are interior courtyard revisions. So again, since the project's been advancing, they've engaged a landscape architect, and the landscape architect has done wonderful work on the courtyard space for the building. These are a few renderings of what that courtyard space will be. There's outdoor lounge areas and dining areas. There are gathering areas for movie nights in the courtyard space, and then the pool area itself. Then again, you'll notice on the roof plans, the areas in red are where the mechanical equipment is shifted. Again, the equipment is all centralized on the roof, and it's all screened with architectural screening, so it's not visible from the street or surrounding properties. And then again, on the upper floor of the building, the top floor of the building, the mechanical equipment is shifted around, but again, all of the mechanical is screened by decorative architectural screening systems. The last thing was mentioned is that retail signage has been updated to reflect the potential tenants. Each sign will be in compliant with the LDO, and as was mentioned, each sign, if they look to change the sign or do different signage, they would have to come back or speak with the zoning to get approvals for that. We've also added a few entry canopies at some of the entrances to the building just to provide a little bit of shelter. They are, again, compliant and are located in areas that have the red outlines on them. And that really is, there was one retail sign that was added to the back side of the building to highlight the fitness center. And that's shown again in red. And then these are just blow-up details that show where those signs are located and the canopies themselves. We're really excited to bring this building into this neighborhood. We think it's going to be a great addition, and we hope that that you can look at these amended plans favorably.
Is there anyone from the community that wants to make any comments? Okay, and I'll close the public portion. Commissioners, do you have any comments or questions?
Yes, I have one question. Do you have a rendering with the AC units was the first one the original one? I guess that's the question I should ask. Is the first one that you showed the original, or that's the proposed?
That's the proposed, again, and
Okay.
and the units themselves are in approximately the same location. They've just been, now
Okay.
we know exactly where they're going to go, so they're placed there, and they're screened by architectural
Okay.
louvers, yeah.
All right, thank you.
I don't know. Is that what? So where is this building located again? Is it near the Puccini's area? Cross, it's the parking lot, yes, okay. Across from where Puccini's was. Okay, as long as the Salaberria is not touched, no.
And as long as it's not in.
Yeah, it is. So I just have one question. You haven't started any of this work yet? You're waiting for our approvals?
That's correct, Chair. No.
Okay,
None of this is constructed. We're waiting to get the approvals.
okay.
Yes, the building is under construction, but the interior finishes haven't been
Great.
started.
Okay.
Yeah, mechanical
Okay.
equipment isn't located yet.
Okay, does anyone have any other questions? Okay. Since we have no other questions, I'm asking for a motion. I'm sorry, staff.
Staff recommends approval as long as the conditions from the prior resolutions carry over.
We confirm that, and my clients would have no issue adhering to those conditions.
All right. I am now asking for a motion to vote on case Z2025-0013.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve Z2025-0013 as presented to the board this evening with conditions.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay.
Commissioner Patel,
Aye.
Commissioner Allen,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Burns,
Yes.
Commissioner Barron,
Yes.
Vice Chair Rule,
Yes.
Madam Chair Coyle.
Yes.
Motion carries, 7 in favor, none opposed.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Commissioners. Have a nice day.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Iris, do you need a break yet, or? You're okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, our next case is 16 Dwight Street. Yep. Case Z2024-0066.
Second page, yeah, right. Yeah, not good spacing.
What's that?
Oh.
I'm not used to an empty room.
Uh-huh.
So do you feel like you just keep coming back here over and over?
Yeah.
Missing those 100 people, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Became fast friends.
2024.
I don't remember this.
And Mr. Harrington, you did upload your notices. Yes, and they were marked at the last meeting, I believe. were. This got carried over from the February meeting. Okay, great. Yes, for the record, Charles Harrington of Conifoli on behalf of the applicant. This project was before the board at the February meeting, and it got carried over to tonight. As you recall, there's a specific issue with regard to the stairs. And the application before the board in February had the stairs protruding over the property line, and we're asking for a franchise ordinance, and the discussion was, let's find a solution to make put those stairs within the property line. So our client did go back and they sharpened their pencil, and they did find a solution which we think works. It is the stairs are now within the property line. We would still need a variance for 12.5 inches over the 4-foot encroachment. So in doing so, what they've done is the steps have been reduced from 18 to 17. The depth of the treads went from 11 inches to 10.5 inches, and the height of the risers were changed from 7 3/8 to 7 3/4. That all resulted in the change of the stairs so that we can fit within the property line. So that being said, it's that's the solution that we're proposing, and my client is on his way here, is just not here yet. But in the spirit of full disclosure, what my client did is he removed the stairs that were not acceptable, and then he kind of got ahead of himself, a little overzealous, and he has installed the stairs that are being proposed as part of this application. He understands, though, that those were installed.
Can I just interrupt you 1 minute for clarification purposes?
Yes.
The last time we were here, he had already done the work. We asked him about that. He moved ahead. We asked him to bring the plans to us first for approval before he did any work. He did the work already again. Mr. Harrington, what do you expect us to do here?
Well, I understood. That's where I was going. I've had that conversation with him, and he said the stairs that he installed are subject to the approval of this board, and they're at his own risk. So, we think that's an appropriate solution, but if the board says they don't think it's the right solution, for the placement of the stairs and the
I think the problem we have here is that he did it again without us approving it, and he still needs a 12.5-inch whatever. I mean.
I understand. I'm not. I didn't know he put them in beforehand either. So, but
so there's a whole presentation that we're supposed to listen to, knowing that he didn't follow the proper procedures again.
Well, in this instance,
yes. So the bottom line is he's put the cart before the horse, and now the question becomes, what do we do?
Twice.
Well, what should we do? And by the way, if we say, for argument's sake, you know what? Take the stairs away, which, as you said, you advised him of that risk. What does he do then? Well, what is his hurry? Is he trying to get a CO on this building? Is he trying to move like this?
I can't speak for him, but he is coming. I think he was trying to expedite the process, but it is absolutely the stairs. They're not approved. So if they're not approved tonight, then whatever the solution is, he'd have to abide by that. This board as to what you think is right.
How about this? We do have another case, right? We have another case on the agenda. So should we wait for this gentleman?
We can, yeah. I see that Mr. Lean's here, so he can move forward with that case.
Why don't we listen to that case first, and then we'll wait to see if we give your client a call. And I imagine everybody has a question for him.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, a question?
It's not like airplanes where they're going to ask them and then everybody's going to be smacking around.
That might be easier.
I think people want to talk to them. Yeah. That might be the easiest thing.
Okay, so then we will go ahead with case Z2024-0069, 26 Beacon Avenue.
Here we go. 26 Beacon.
Good evening, Commissioners. Tom Lean from Connell Foley here on behalf of the applicant.
Are you?
This is a notice case, so I will provide Mr. LaPaglia with my original affidavit, which has also been posted on Tyler.
Uploaded, right? Yeah, we'll give it to Iris and she'll mark it as A1. And we have looked at it and your notices comply, so.
Thank you, Counsel.
A1 in evidence, and that's one hurdle.
The property before you tonight is on Beacon Avenue. It is a undersized lot. It is currently 6 units, but it is in very, very bad repair. So my client is coming in here to try and make it an actual usable building. They're bringing it down from 6 units to 3 units, which still does need a density variance, which is why we're in front of the board here. 2 units is what is permitted on this site. They are going to add an extension to the back of the building to try and make 3 nice 3-bedroom usable units. We do think it's in line with the density that is on this block. We do think it is in line with the building next door to it, which is also on a similar lot, which is also 3 units. And we think it'll take some blight off of the block, and we think it's a good use for a building that's in severe disrepair right now. So I have 2 witnesses this evening. I have Mr. Moreno, who's going to be our architect, and then I have Ms. Worstel, who's going to come up and talk to the variance.
Okay, great.
I'll qualify. Don't worry. Yes. Okay. So, Mr. Moreno is not a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey. He's the project manager, but he did prepare the plans. Mr. Lewis has reviewed them, and he is a licensed architect, so he will be here if there's any questions that the board needs asked that a licensed architect can prepare. But Mr. Moreno is going to be our, he's going to present today. Yes. All right. Hi.
Do you swear that the testimony you will provide this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. Jeffrey Lewis, Lewis.
Thank you.
So Mr. Lewis has been before the board many times, and I really have to be prepared because he has a tendency to speed talk.
I've been practicing. But my license is in good standing. And just for the record, I actually did a project on this property 7 years ago that went nowhere, so I'm very familiar with the project, with the property.
Another plug-in.
Yes. Good evening.
Oh, that's what he wants to do, huh?
I do. With Martin Moreno.
Yeah.
M-O-R-M-O-R-T-I-N.
Because this is what it looks like. He's changing it.
Okay. Very much like Mr. Lewis, I also have a tendency to speak fast, so please slow me down if I get a little out of control. Okay. Are we okay to move forward?
Speak into the mic, though.
Oh, yes, of course. Apologies. Okay. Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. As mentioned, my name is Martin Moreno, here to speak on our project on behalf of T. Laporte Architect PC at 26 Beacon Avenue. As Mr. Lean stated just recently, the building is currently a 3-story, 6-unit building, but it is severely dilapidated. Dilapidated. I'm sorry. English is not my first language, so I apologize. So we are taking it upon ourselves to renovate both the interior and the exterior of the building to make it a little bit more attractive and to make it more in line with the existing streetscape. So as previously mentioned, there has been some construction that has undergone on Beacon Avenue, more specifically right next to our building. To start off on our cover page, the exterior proposed rendering that you see here, the building on the left is a building that is currently being under construction. It is very similar to the project that we are proposing. It was previously, it is being renovated and an addition is being proposed as a new 3-story, 3-unit building. Our building is a little bit shorter. We are not really messing with the ceiling heights, the existing ceiling heights, something that I will get into as we progress along with the presentation. But just to start off, just give you a quick idea of what we're doing here with our proposed exterior rendering. So we're doing a very sort of simple, basic design, something that is found across Jersey City, this sort of box-like structure with a bump out, with a sort of brownish, grayish brick and a green siding on the bump out. Now, the image isn't really reading very well. It's reading a little bit darker. It's reading as a sort of black color. But I assure you that it's not meant to be a sort of dark or black paneling. It's more to be a sort of green accent. And the reason for that was because we did find green accents in similar buildings, both across the street and next to us. And that's something that I will get to once we get to the residential design standards. So moving on to our surveys, our proposed, existing, and proposed site plans. The existing site plan is here on the top left-hand corner. As mentioned, it is an existing 3-story building, and we are proposing an as-of-right bulk requirement. From a bulk requirement standpoint, we are proposing an as-of-right addition. Both the rear addition, both the rear setbacks, the side yard setbacks, and the height are all compliant. The reason we are here today, as Mr. Lean had mentioned earlier, was that we are seeking a density variance because we are technically expanding an existing non-conforming. So again, the existing site plan here and our proposed site plan with the compliant rear yard addition. We also have some existing street photos that we took. Now, this project has been in development for a little while now, roughly 2 years. So these pictures are a little outdated. I apologize. I believe our planner will have some more updated photos. But we took some street photos looking in both directions towards Palisade Avenue towards Palisade Avenue, and towards Baldwin Avenue. Moving on, we just have some very simple standards that I'm sure you guys have seen a million times. So on to the existing floor plans. As mentioned before, this is an existing 6-unit building. The units themselves were a little tough to make out because the interior of the building is severely out of shape. It's pretty much down to the stud framing, and the stud framing themselves aren't really in the best conditions. But from what we were able to take away was that we have a unit on each floor situated towards the front of the building and towards the back. But as you can tell, given that the existing footprint is 20 by 40 roughly, these are very small units. We have some existing site photos that oriented towards the bottom of the building, specifically the fire escape, which is something that I'm going to highlight a little bit more. But just before we move on to the proposed floor plans, just highlighting the fact that it's 6 units total, 2 on each floor, with each unit being very, very small. Not really, I mean, depending on where you are, I'm sure in Japan this is a massive unit, but for here it's probably not ideal. Moving on to the proposed floor plans. So the plan here is essentially to gut essentially the entirety of the interior of the building and propose 3-bedroom, 2-bath units on each floor. So just to go over the first floor, the main entrance is located here. We will enter through the main common entrance. Straight to the left, you will have your entry to Unit 1. You will have a kitchen, living dining area, and 3 comfortable bedrooms, with the master oriented towards the back of the building, with an ensuite and a common bath for bedroom 1 and bedroom 2. Also, something that we are proposing for each unit is a washer-dryer system and central air and heating, just to make it a little bit more accommodating and just bring it up to standards to pretty much just the normal today's age of Jersey City apartments. Going on to the second floor, you make your way up the stairs. From there, we initially have a single run. That single run will then turn into a sort of scissor stair. So once you get to the top and you make your first turn, you will then be able to go straight into Unit 2. Unit 2, again, same idea, 3 bedrooms with the master oriented towards the back, ensuite, and then a common bath for bedroom 1 and bedroom 2. In this case, Unit 2 will have an exterior balcony that will serve as the unit's exterior space. So I got a little ahead of myself. I forgot to mention that each unit will have an exterior amenity space, with Unit 1 having direct access to the backyard and Unit 2 having a balcony. Moving on to the third floor unit, you continue up the scissor stair and then you go all the way to the top. And from there, you'll have direct access to Unit 3. Similar, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, stack washer-dryer system, water heating, central air, and also a balcony towards the back of the building accessible from the master bedroom, but also a roof terrace that will be accessible only to Unit 3. So as you make your way into the building, and you make towards the left will be the living dining area, and there will also be a turn where you can go straight up into the roof terrace. But as mentioned, this roof terrace will only be accessible to Unit 3. It will not be a common roof deck. I just want to specify that because, as the board may know, that could create some egress issues. So we want to keep it specifically applicable to Unit 3.
Nice.
So just to recap on the sizes of the units, Unit 1 will be a 1,074 square feet unit. Unit 2 will be 1,092 square feet unit. And Unit 3 will be 1,178 square feet. This is a significant improvement from the units that are there, because as mentioned, each unit right now existing is currently about 250 square feet. Highlighting once again the egress issue. The fire escape, we are choosing to keep the fire escape for egress purposes. Now, with the current code, if we were to update the existing building to the current code, we technically do not need the fire escape. because we are a 3-story building and we are proposing a sprinkler system. So that's something else that we're proposing. We're actually improving the fire, security, and protection of the building. But given that we have a sprinkler system, we can get away with just one means of egress. But we're designed to keep the fire escape just as a sort of extra precaution for dual means of egress. But as mentioned, it's not required. Going on to the existing elevations. Here we have existing front, existing rear, existing side, once again showcasing the fire escape, and the other existing side, which is attached to the building, which is attached to a neighboring building. We are keeping the floor-to-ceiling heights the same, but we are removing. We have labeled here that this sort of pitch roof is going to be removed to make space for a new flat roof to accommodate the proposed roof terrace for Unit 3. Showing the proposed streetscape, the proposed elevations, highlighting once again the residential design standards. As you can see at the bottom, these photos were, once again, to reiterate, these photos were taken a little while back, about a year and a half ago. The street has significantly changed since then. But even at that point, when the project was started, there was already some newer buildings on the street. A lot of buildings that had similar accents to what we were proposing in regards to the front bump outs, the paneling, the casement windows, picture windows, etc. If you can see here, you'll see that one of the immediate neighboring buildings does have a green accent along the side of the wall. And then some of the other buildings, which is a little tough to read here, had a lot of green accents around the windows and doors. Those green accents, as previously mentioned, were the reasoning for proposing the green paneling on the bump out. So the green paneling, again, this is sort of like a dark forest green wood that we are proposing. We are proposing, as I said, a sort of grayish, brownish brick, which I brought a sample of. I'll just like put it right there.
Okay.
Which is sort of like a blend. So it's not just one flush color, but it's a blend and has a little bit of texture just to give it some more, just to give the building a little bit more character. And just a building section to highlight the existing floor-to-ceiling heights, which, as mentioned, we are keeping, but obviously we're going to be reutilizing and redoing the building to better accommodate the existing heights. And with that being said, that pretty much concludes my presentation.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno. I only have one question for you. I'm not asking you this as a planner. I'm asking you as an architect. When you designed this building, the intent was for it to comply with the bulk standards of the R1, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct. That's correct.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll hold any questions till we're finished, okay?
With that, my planner, Ms. Worstel, is going to come up and just walk through the deviation, which again is just about density.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Martin? There goes Joanne. The one time I actually have something to show.
Oh.
I do. Okay. Carolyn Worstel, Worstell.
And Ms. Worstel, you've testified before this board many times, correct?
I have.
And your license is in good standing?
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. So I am here. We're here because we have a single variance, a D variance for the density. As was mentioned, even though we are decreasing the density of the property, it still exceeds what is permitted under the ordinance. I wanted to sort of start off today just to again reorient you to the site and provide an updated photo. I was at the site myself on Tuesday evening, so this is as of Tuesday, just to give you an idea of what the current condition of the site is and of the status of the buildings on either side of it, which are under construction or recently completed. So we are requesting a density variance. We're proposing 3 units with a density of 57 units per acre, where 42 is what is permitted in the R1 district. The project itself is going to be reducing what is an existing nonconformity for this lot. It is a 6-unit building, which has a density of 114 units per acre. So with this project, we are actually reducing the density of this property and bringing it into greater conformance with the ordinance. The property itself is, I believe, is very able to accommodate the units that are being proposed. The way that the building has been laid out with the 3 units, you do get 3 well-sized bedroom, 3-bedroom units that average over 1,000 square feet. So that's a really comfortable size that you can create within a completely conforming bulk for this property. And we're actually even reducing one of the existing nonconformities of the structure, which is its height. Because of its peaked roof, it actually has a height that exceeds the 35 feet permitted in the ordinance. And so with the changes being proposed here, with removal of the peaked roof and creating of a flat roof, we actually are going to be bringing the building height into conformity with the ordinance. The density itself is actually, I think, very consistent with the character of this block. I should have asked, the first photo should probably be marked into evidence as an exhibit.
Yeah, can we enter that as A2?
A2, why not?
Yes.
Okay. And then this density exhibit, I guess, would be A3. Yes. So the subject property, as you can see, is sort of in the center of the exhibit. It's highlighted in yellow. It's lot number 28. We are, this block itself of the, 18 lots that front on the north side of Beacon Avenue, 10 have densities which exceed the maximum permitted in the R1 district. In addition, both of the lots that are adjacent to the property, to both the right and the left of us, as well as to the rear of us, all have densities that exceed what is permitted in the R1. The lot that is to, I guess, in the exhibit to the left of us, which is, it would be west, I believe that's 32 Beacon, that has 3 units, which is a very similar, actually I think it's a slightly higher density because it's a slightly smaller lot. And then the lot to the east of us, 24 Beacon, is actually an 8-unit building, which would be 128 units per acre. So as you can see, there is significant number of properties along this block which exceed the density that's permitted in the R1. So we're really very consistent with the character of this block. In addition, the block itself is sandwiched by districts on either side, which also permit much higher densities. To the east of us along Palisades Avenue, you have the M district, which doesn't have any maximum density, which would be permitted for a couple of residential uses that are there. The RC2 district has a density of 75 units per acre, and then on Baldwin Avenue, which is on the west side of the block, it's 80 units per acre. So, there's significant density that's permitted on this block front, both because of the districts that they're in, but also within the portion of the block that's in the R1, we are seeing much higher densities. I think overall this project is consistent with the municipal land use law. It would encourage an appropriate use and development of this property that will promote the public health and safety. Right now this building is condemned. So with this project, we're taking up a building that is unsafe, and we're going to be bringing it up to code. We're going to be creating a very active and attractive use. So I think that's really consistent with Purpose A of the municipal land use law. It's consistent with Purpose B to secure from safety from fire, flood, and panic and other disasters. Again, it's a condemned building. With this, we're going to be fully renovating this structure, and it's going to meet all current building and fire safety codes. So really a much safer condition for not only this lot, but also for the lot surrounding it. It's consistent with purpose C, adequate light, air, and open space. This project conforms with all of the bulk standards in the R1 district. We're not asking for any bulk standards in either setbacks, height, coverages. Everything is conforming. I think it promotes an appropriate population density. As I mentioned, it's very consistent with the character of this block. And I think it's also consistent with purpose I, creating a desirable visual environment. Obviously, a building that's been fully renovated and has an attractive facade is much better than what is there today, which is a condemned structure. I don't see any substantial detriment to the public good. In fact, I see a great benefit. Again, taking a condemned property and creating a new functional residential structure, meeting modern code that is consistent with all the bulk requirements. You're going to be getting new sidewalks, a new street tree, and landscaping along the street frontage that will visually improve the streetscape. And I don't see a substantial impairment to the intent or purpose of the zone plan. It's really consistent with the intent of the district, R1 district, to encourage compatible infill. That's really what this is. It's a very compatible infill development on this site. And I also believe it's consistent with the lower height small area vision plan. This block is within that small area vision plan, which talked about beautifying streets and adding new street trees and front yard landscaping, which will be happening. Limiting development to 3 stories, as this one will be, and consistent with all the R1 bulk standards, and rehabilitating existing structures. So this is rehabilitating an existing structure with an addition, and really sort of extending the lifespan of a structure and all the embodied carbon and all of the materials that will be able to be salvaged here. So I think overall that the variances are justified, that we can meet the criteria for the density variance, and that both positive and negative criteria are met.
Thank you. Okay. Does that conclude your presentation?
That does. Again, I'd just like to state that I know this board is not worried about blight and redevelopment, but at the end of the day, this is removing what is essentially a blighted property and replacing it with something that matches with the neighborhood, a density that matches with it, and a use that matches with it. So I thank the board for their time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there anyone from the public to make any comments? Okay, I'll close the public portion of the meeting. Commissioners, do you have any questions or comments that you would like to make? No? Okay. I'd like to hear from staff.
Sure. In staff's review of the project, they found that the bulk and mass of the building is consistent with that of the neighborhood, and the design as well is consistent with the number of the buildings in the neighborhood. And looking at the density variance, it does kind of lessen the nonconformity by slicing the density of the building in half. And it is consistent with the number of the buildings, the residential buildings in the block, which some of them have 3 units within them. So I would just like to confirm one thing with the applicant's team is staff recommended 5 conditions in our memo with the project.
I have reviewed staff's memo. We are okay with the conditions within, and we will agree to them in the resolution.
Okay. With that said, staff recommends approval.
Okay. Okay, now do the commissioners have any questions or comments? Okay. Mr. Beasley, can you please take?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Motion.
Wait, whoa. I'm just running ahead here. Okay, so I am asking for a motion to to vote on Z2024-0069. Can I get a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve case Z2024-0069 as presented to the board this evening with conditions.
Okay, can I get? Okay.
Second.
Commissioner Patel?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyle?
Yes.
Commissioner Burns?
Yes.
Commissioner Barron?
Yes.
Vice Chair Rule?
Yes.
Madam Chair Coyle?
Yes.
Motion carries, 7 in favor, none opposed.
Good luck. Okay. Iris, do you want to take a little break right now before we start our final case? Okay. Okay, so we will take a break. It is 7:16, so we'll come back at like say 7:25. Okay. It's 9 minutes. We will be presenting case Z2024-0066, 16 Dwight Street. Mr. Harrington? Okay.
Yes, thank you. Back on the record. So, yeah, my clients are here. I'll defer to the board if you'd like us to go through the presentation or hear from them first if you have questions before we start. But before we go there, I'd just like to back up, and like the question was how what do we do? And I actually have had a similar situation before the planning board where people go out and they things have been done before they get to the board, and the direction or at that time, and I'd submit to this board is you look at this as if it was not there. Do you think it's appropriate? Would you approve it? Because if you don't approve it, they're going to rip it out. They have to. There's no vesting rights to this just because it's there. And you'll hear from them that when they took the stairs out, they started to kind of put it together to see what it would look like, and then there's like, well, they just kept going and said, now we will see, in real life what it looks like. This board, I think when you see it, all things equal, I think it makes sense. But
Mr. Harrington, there is a proper procedure to follow. And the first time this gentleman, you came before us with the case, okay, we did approve one of them.
Right.
And, we went. Then we did not approve the second one. And he cannot come back and plead, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know what the other commissioners think. Ignorance again, when we were perfectly clear as to what he had to do, had to follow what is outlined in the guidelines for coming before this board and when to submit plans. It was specifically told that he had to bring the plans to us first and not proceed with any work. And now again, he has just gone against what he's supposed to be doing. And now you're asking us that we should look at this and say it's okay.
I am asking you to look at it because if you don't think it's okay, he has to rip it out.
Yes, but he should have brought the plans here first.
Understood.
Okay.
But I guess the converse, question to that is if.
But that's the situation he created. We didn't create the situation. He did.
We totally understand that, and I've had that discussion with them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's if it's appropriate, I'd say if you look at it and you think it's appropriate, then you leave it there and you move forward. If you don't think it's appropriate, that's what the board's here to decide. You could say, I still don't like it.
I don't know if we're supposed to vote on what's appropriate. I think we're supposed to vote on giving them the approval to do this when they've already gone ahead with it. So approval and saying it's okay, it's appropriate. Approval and appropriate are two different things.
Well, what I mean by appropriate is the variance justified? That we still have to prove that the variance is justified or satisfy you. If you're not satisfied that we've met the criteria, then you're not going to approve it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, so let's listen to this.
Okay, so with that said, we can make the presentation first, or if you and then my thought is to have the presentation first, and then my clients are here to have any questions. Unless, Madam Chairwoman, if you'd like to ask them questions first before we go into it. Okay.
We follow the way it's supposed to be presented here, so please, Mr. Harrington, let's follow the proper procedure. Thank you.
Hi. Yes. Okay. And let me just say I wasn't the person who presented at the last meeting. However, I did read through the transcript, and I understand where we are, which was really not very far. So let's just jump right back in. And you ended last meeting talking about the staircase. So here I'm looking at what was previously built at the top, and then what we were going to be proposing tonight, but which since has been built at the bottom. So above we see that the stair was protruding 3 feet out into the public right-of-way. At the bottom, you see that we have been able to reduce that stair. So we're actually completely on our property. We have a 2-inch front yard setback from our front property line to the stair. As was mentioned, we did this by increasing the riser height from 7 3/8 to 7 3/4 inches. That allowed us to remove one stair. We reduced the size of the treads from 11 inches to 10.5 inches. And then lastly, at the landing at the top of the flight of stairs, it was reduced from 5'6" to 4 foot, which was what was originally approved. We decided on these tread heights and riser heights and tread widths because we thought that was a good combination of keeping the stair on our property as well as not making the stair too small so that it's unsafe or uncomfortable. The building code allows you to go up to 8 1/4 inches, but you don't see it very often. It's usually kind of a basement stair. In the basement, you see your stairs are usually a little taller. And it actually allows you to go down to a 9-inch tread, which is very small. And again, you see it in basements. It's not something you see very often, especially in a multifamily use where this is a shared stair. We weren't really comfortable going that small. So we felt this was a good balance and that this brought the stair onto our property and out of the public right-of-way, which was one of the main goals here. We do have a photograph that was taken. I think we need to mark it into the record. I could bring it up here. Do you have the date and everything?
Just the notices, I believe. So this is A2.
This was taken by the client on March 4th, March 9th.
March.
What was the date?
Yeah.
Okay. So this photo was taken by the client on March 4th. This was taken after the construction that was not supposed to happen. So this is the stair that is completely on our property line. So I think what you can see is that we have the stair back here. You can see that our neighbor's stair is much further in front than ours is. Their stair is over the property line. And you can see that their fence is probably 5 to 6 feet over the property line into the public right-of-way. And this is actually very common on this street. Really, the whole street frontage, if you were walking down the street, you would think the property lines were at this fence because most of the properties are building out to that line. This is pretty common in Jersey City in these older neighborhoods. The other thing I did want to mention here is we're proposing to increase the size of the landscaping area. So you can see that we extended these pits. Again, our property ends right at the end of the stair here. We're extending the planting areas along the fence and here out to basically that extended line of the street frontage. And we could see that if I go back to the plans, you could see those areas at the top and at the bottom of the drawing. So we're going to propose some shrubs in those areas. Additionally, let me zoom out quickly. This was the original proposed. You could see in the backyard, it was originally proposed as yard with a small patio. What was built was a much larger patio, and since then that patio has been removed. So we've gone back to the same depth as the original patio. However, we actually did add one additional shrub underneath the air conditioning unit to act as screening there. So we actually increased the landscaping of a very, very small amount, but we went back to what was originally approved and then went a little beyond. This is the second floor. The only thing you can really see here is that this landing was previously 5'6", and you could tell right here that it is much smaller. It's now 4 foot in total, and that was the third way that we were able to bring the stair back and get it onto our property. This is the second floor. This is the third floor. Excuse me. There are no changes to this floor. The square footage is exactly the same as what was approved, and this is the roof plan, which was built as was approved. Here we're moving on to the front elevations. On the left, you can see what was approved. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And the right drawings are showing existing. We could focus on this one. So you can see both of these buildings were modern finishes. The bulk The bays and the bulk of the building have remained unchanged from what was approved. However, the finishes have been changed. Starting at the bottom, the brick was changed from a light gray brick to a darker gray brick. We had this light gray fiber cement siding above, and that was changed to a night gray fiber cement paneling, so same material, different color. The bay itself was finished with off-white metal panels, and that was changed to a cedar finish metal siding. That siding was previously used as an accent to the garage door, and we just moved that up to the bay window. And then lastly, here, speaking of the garage door, we originally had that accent in an 8-foot door, or I think a 9-foot door, I'm sorry. That was increased to a 10-foot door and was moved to be centered on the bay windows above. Oh, and then the last thing, you could see we have a very small, minimal 4-inch coping at the top of the building previously. That has been upgraded, and so that now we have a 1'8" foot tall aluminum wrapped cornice that will be black. Moving on to the rear elevation, there's one minor change here. Previously we had 2 awning windows in the bathrooms on the back, and those were changed to casement windows, roughly the same size window, just put them on their side. And then lastly, on the side elevation where we have some windows, these awning windows were not in the previous application, so those awning windows are all new. They're each in a bedroom. And then lastly, you can see what was the stair that was originally built, and then the stair that we're proposing today with the property line, so you can see how much shorter it is than what was previously here. And then this is the last side elevation, which is unchanged except for the staircase. That would conclude my presentation, unless you want me to address anything directly.
Would you like to wait until?
We'll wait till the end.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then I'm going to proceed with Ms. Worstel to address the requested relief.
This is going to go on forever. Can we go back just to the... Actually, go back to the photo.
Here's something when I need you. Please something when I need you.
Thank you. I acknowledge that I'm still under oath and my license is still in good standing. Good evening. So, as was recently discussed, we're here for to address the front yard encroachment variance. And this is under section 345-60, which is the supplementary standards, which basically says stairs may project up to 4 feet into any required yard. In this case, the stairs as presented and as would extend an additional 12.5 inches, so it's 5 feet and just a couple inches. So that's where the request is for the 12 inches, which is essentially like a little over 1 tread. This stair condition is, when you look at it and you talk about, encroachments into the yard, a lot of what we're looking at is how is this consistent with the character of the block, and how does it relate to how a pedestrian would view this block. As you can see along this block, the way that a pedestrian is going to view these stairs, they're going to view them as being far within essentially what most people view as a property. Because the way that this block is treated is a lot of people are utilizing what is actually public property. It's part of the public right-of-way, but for them, they're treating it as their front yard. And that's historically, it happens all over Jersey City, and it's a very common condition on this block. So as you can see here in the photo, again, when we look at this stair in relation to what is happening directly adjacent to us, our stair looks very far back from our neighbor's stair. It's farther, if you look farther down the block, you actually see somebody's porch is actually, potentially partially or if not mostly within the public right-of-way. So when you look at this, you think, the stair encroachment does not negatively impact the pedestrian access along this block frontage. The streetscape and the sidewalk is still completely free. So I think the question here is the benefit outweighing the detriment. So the detriment here is that 1 foot and 6 inches of additional stair into a front yard encroachment. The detriment, I don't really see a detriment in terms of how do we...
Just to correct, it's 12 inches, 1 foot and a half.
1 foot and a half.
Inch, not 12, not 18 inches.
Oh, it's not 18 inches, it's 12 feet
and
a half an inch.
12 inches.
12 and a half inches. 12 and a half inches. My apologies. So there are, whether or not there are detriments. I don't perceive this as being a substantial detriment to the public, because the public's right of way and how they perceive this, frontage and how they perceive the streetscape, they're not going to notice that this stair is, beyond what is typical, which is that 4 feet, because it's so far back from what the public, understands as the public realm. Overall, I think the benefit here is that they are, establishing and continuing that public, streetscape. They're going to be installing a new street tree where there wasn't one previously. They are going to create and continue that street wall, that continuous street wall, through the landscaping that they're proposing. So the landscaping, it will extend into the public right-of-way, but what it does is it helps to continue and establish that street wall, which creates, a continuous street. And that's what people expect and what they anticipate when they walk down a street. They want to see something that's continuous. And that helps them, navigate through the public realm. So I really don't see that there's a substantial detriment by that additional encroachment into that public or into the front yard. We're also here because there are some design standards that were within the Jersey City LDO that talk about what is recommended and not recommended. And it really basically states that the design of a project should be the scale, orientation, and style consistent with adjacent development. This project was approved as a two-family, which is conforming use, by the building department. And looking at what the design standards talk about, they talk about scale. This project is a conforming bulk. It's a conforming height. It is conforming setbacks. It's conforming coverages. So in terms of scale, this project is completely conforming with what is permitted within the R1 district. When we talk about orientation, the project has a very it's a conforming and consistent orientation. It's facing the street. It is meeting those setback standards. So in terms of orientation, I would say that we are consistent. And then the last is style. And style is really a very subjective item. There are a wide variety of design styles evident on Dwight Street. There are brick row homes. There are detached houses with peaked and flat roofs. There are detached houses that have architectural pediments, which provide the illusion of peaked roofs, or hipped roof lines, but have flat roofs behind them. So there really is a very wide range of architectural styles up and down this block. Almost all these homes are elevated off the street with stairs and a stoop. So while 16 Dwight Street has a more modern design style than found some elsewhere on Dwight Street, there really are all of the elements that are consistent with the context of that block. It has that elevated front door. It has the flat roof or the cornice consistent with 13 Dwight Street and 46 Dwight Street. It has building materials that are found throughout the block, including the brick, the hardy siding and metal panels, all of which are really quality materials. So there really is a design quality here that is found. And so I think really that design and the scale of the building meets that intent of those R1 district while modernizing it to a mixture of new and current residents in the area. In looking at the municipal land use law, I would say that this is consistent with the municipal land use law. Purpose A, it is an appropriate development for the site. It is a conforming two-family dwelling. It meets all of the bulk standards except for the stair issue. We are meeting light, air, and open space with all those setbacks. And it promotes that desirable visual environment. Again, it's a quality materials. It's going to be adding that street tree. It's adding that landscaping in the front yard, which are the requirements. I don't see a substantial detriment from the variance requested. As I said, we're still promoting that safety for pedestrians by providing that consistent pedestrian travel path, which is a sidewalk, and providing that visual street wall with the landscaping. And I don't think there's a substantial impairment to the intent and purpose of the zone plan. Again, the design scale of the building meets the intent of the R1 district while modernizing it. And it fulfills the purpose of the R1 neighborhood housing district to accommodate, encourage incompatible infill, preserve the streetscape, and preserve on-street parking. It is important that the zone acknowledge and celebrate the physical assets of the existing community, as well as create high-quality, diverse housing types that will accommodate the needs of all residents. So I think really that the requested variance can be granted in that it meets both the positive and the negative criteria. And that's my testimony.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now I do have one more witness. I'd like to bring up my client so he can speak to how the stairs came about and their decision-making around that.
Okay.
I do.
State your full name, please.
Yakov Bindler.
Spell your full name.
Yakov, last name Bindler, Bindler.
Okay, Mr. Bindler, you are the owner of the property, is that correct?
One of them, yes.
One of the owners, okay. And so you were here during the testimony regarding, well, just the prior testimony, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So can you give an overview or a summary or an explanation as to how the stairs came into being constructed prior? Well, let me ask you first. The stairs being constructed, you understand that those, when you constructed those, that they were subject to the approval of this board?
The first one?
No. This one that you just did.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and you understand if it's not approved tonight, that you run the risk of deconstructing these,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, if you could give the board the benefit of how this came about.
Right. So I have been in this business for 40 years, and sometime you make a mistake, and sometimes you get carried away. And in this particular project, two things happened at once. First, we made a mistake, and the second one, when we demolished the old stairs and we started trying to figure out what we can do there, because not everything could be done on paper, we got carried away. So basically what you see in this picture is a life-size prototype of the stairs. We are showing what could be done, but there's no presumption on our part that because we spend time and money, you will go ahead and approve it. So it's understood by us. So it's a life-size prototype of what could be done. So it's your decision. Obviously, I don't need to tell you that. But that's what I said was we got carried away a little bit. We have our masons finishing the building, and we just did it. It's a mistake, but there is no malice. I mean, we're not trying to push you to do something. I don't think you would. Judging by what happened last time, you had 2 projects. We made 2 mistakes. You allow one proceed and you stop the other one. We understand how it works. So in this particular case, again, look at the pictures, look at what we propose, and make your decision on merits. That's basically, and we're sorry. I mean, there's no, like I say, there is no disrespect to this body. We're not presuming anything. We spend some time and money, and that's what happens. So we're sorry, it's not going to happen again. We're in this town, and we're building a lot. We'll learn our lesson. We'll move ahead.
Okay, thank you. Are you, okay.
Yeah, that completes our presentation, so we'll defer to the board for any
Okay, is there anyone from the public here to make any comments or ask any questions? Okay, close the public portion of the meeting. Commissioners, do you want to ask questions, or do you want to hear from the staff first, or?
No question.
Okay, let's hear from the staff.
He has a question. Peter
Okay,
has a question.
go ahead, Peter.
I guess the biggest question is that if this board had requested plans, even if you're saying that you can't put everything on a piece of paper and that this is a prototype, the question is still, why did you not make plans and have an architect submit them in advance to spending the time and money, materials, manpower, etc., to build what you are defining as a prototype?
Right. Again, it just happened. We were doing it in parallel. There was an architect. 3 times he went and we measured everything, and something wasn't correct. And the sidewalk was a little bit. If you look at the picture, the sidewalk is a little bit out. So you kind of trying to catch the sidewalk with the stairs, and it just little things. And we were trying to do it, and we put together, everything came together at the same time, right? I'm not saying that we haven't cleaned it up after we made the papers, but we just did it and just as an illustration.
I understand to a certain extent what you're saying. But there is the saying that goes that when you don't get it right, you go back to the drawing board.
Right.
And you're saying that for whatever reasons that your architects felt they couldn't come to a solution.
No, he came to the solution. His solution was exactly solution that we were moving together, and that was a solution that we thought is good. That's why we're asking you to go ahead and approve it and give us a variance, because that's the most appropriate solution that we found.
Okay, so then the question is, if you thought that you came up with an appropriate solution, why did you not submit plans to this board before you did perform construction?
Just didn't.
That's because, I mean, it didn't just happen. There were many people that were involved. You had to get materials.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had to direct the people. Things don't just happen. There's a mindset, there's a rationing, there's a reason behind it, and that's the question, why?
What do you think, why? What do you think
my question is to you. The question is what you're thinking.
There was not much thoughts behind it.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
Mr. Barron, you keep talking about the stairs, and we keep talking about the steps, and you still need 12.5 inches or whatever, okay? But there were so many other changes. You just made other changes, like the material, the windows, different items you added, different things you took away. So, and you just did it without even bringing those plans back. let me finish, please. You didn't bring those plans back to get approval through the zoning board, through the person who was working with you. And it was clear the last time we met that you had to bring the plans to us before you did anything. And that didn't happen. Get carried away on one project, but we gave you enough leeway.
If I may, I mean, the changes in the materials in the windows, I mean, let's not forget, it takes 2 years to build this house. During this time, materials change. There was an issue with supplies. There was an issue with a lot of things. And it was not our understanding that, for example, the form of the window, how it's located, needs to be approved, is it?
That is a common practice that we established in the Division of Zoning. If there are changes in the field with materials, for whatever reason, for constraints with like acquiring the materials, that's fine. It happens. We understand that. But architects and developers come back with the changes in those plans. We review them and we approve them. Or if there is an issue, we say it then and there. There is a constant back and forth we have in our zoning review application process.
Now, are you saying that the windows, the horizontally positioned windows versus
Yes.
Okay, so let's just be clear here. There were several changes.
If I could try to clear this up a little bit. There were no further changes between the last time we were here and tonight other than the stairs. And then the other change is this is a two-family home, but for the stairs, it's typically called an over-the-counter permit. So it's not like a full-blown site plan where you come back and you change the window sizes and or materials. You go back to the planning board or the zoning board for that administrative amendment. Those are changes that they're permitted as of right. So you can make the changes and you can go back and forth. But it's not. This would not. But for the stairs, you wouldn't have to go to a board. I mean, and we're here asking for a waiver. I mean, this was approved. The design, the urban design look was approved initially by the zoning office, and that's why you proceeded to the building, the building department. Otherwise, it would have been stopped then.
Okay.
But I just.
All right. Do we have? Can we hear from staff?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Harrington.
Okay. So I do just want to again clarify that when changes do occur during the process, they always have to come back. This is a common condition that you also see on zoning board applications, which say that everything has to, that if there are changes, that the applicant has to come back for approvals. This is the same practice that we have in the Division of Zoning. And it just simply didn't happen. I also want to question why a prototype was necessary. If you guys had come to us and proposed the solution and the board in the instance that it had approved, that's when it was time to prototype. That's when it was time to make sure that it was okay with construction code, and if in the fields the solution wasn't working out, then you come back and you say it's not working out, we need to figure a different solution. That's the process. So I don't understand
Excuse me, let Ms. Pereira continue, please.
And maybe you want to speak to this, but I don't understand why there was a need for a prototype.
I don't disagree with what Ms. Pierre is saying, and that's the way it should have happened, and that's why I'm kind of reverting back to it. That if you look at it as if it weren't there, is there justification for the variance? It definitely was a misstep. They absolutely should have gone to your office and spoke to you about it. But I'm submitting we all know they did, right? But is the stair there appropriate? And that's kind of where we're coming from. And I can't put a justification for not following that process. You can't put the rabbit back in the hat, but I'm just saying, if you look at it, is the stair appropriate? And if you look at that photo we showed, I think it shows that it's appropriate with the rest of the street.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything else, Ms.
It
Pereira?
also begs the question, why are we all here for? Why is there a review process before things are constructed? That is because we've created zoning standards which are in the best interest of the public. And we are the keepers of that. We are trying to make sure that development that is done from here on out is done in the best interest of the public. And this completely negates all of that work as well.
Okay,
And with that, staff has no further comments.
Okay, thank you. Do the commissioners have any questions or comments, or should we just move to a vote? Okay, I will. Okay, I'm now asking for a motion to vote on Z2024-0066. Can I get a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve case Z2024-0066 as presented to the board this evening.
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
What did I say?
That's okay. No.
Oh.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay.
Commissioner Barron?
No.
Commissioner Boyle?
No.
Commissioner Patel?
No.
Commissioner Burns?
No.
Commissioner Allen?
No.
Vice Chair Rule?
No.
Madam Chair Coyle?
No.
Motion does not carry. 0 in favor, 7 opposed.
Okay. That ends our business for the evening. Less for the public portion of the meeting. Do we have any resolutions that we need to memorialize or? Okay.
Okay. Ready, Iris?
Does he realize?
So,
My microphone doesn't work.
How's that? Better? Okay.
I can hear you, don't worry.
All right. So the first
Just shake
resolution to approve is case Z2023-0020. The applicant is Pascal Investments, LLC. The address was 74 Bowers Street. This was an application for a site plan amendment. This was decided on December 7th of 2023. At that time, the commissioners in attendance were Chair Coyle, Vice Chair Arroyo, Commissioners Shadid, Allen, Boyle, and Ziblicki. That passed 6 in favor, none opposed. All in favor of memorializing that is
Aye.
Aye.
And the next 3 occurred on March 6th. And on March 6th was Chair Coyle, Commissioner Ziblicki, Patel, Barron, Boyle, Burns, and Allen. All 3 of these applications that I'm about to give you passed 7 in favor, none opposed. So the first one is Z2023-0019. The applicant was Frank Peraza. It was a final major site plan amendment for 136 Delaware Avenue. Again, that passed 7 in favor, none opposed. All in favor of memorializing that?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And the next one, same date, same vote. It's case Z2024-0045. The applicant was 850 West Side LLC. It was a preliminary and final major site plan approval with a D variance for use. Again, that passed 7 in favor, none opposed. All in favor of memorializing that is
Aye.
And the last one heard on that date of March 6th, 7 commissioners, same vote. is case Z 2024-0044. The applicant was SASM Morris Company, LLC. The address was 83-89 Morris Avenue. That was a preliminary and final major site plan approval with C and D variances. All in favor of memorializing that?
Aye.
Aye.
And the last one, which was heard tonight, so we all know who's here, and we all know that passed, 7 in favor, none opposed. That was case Z 2025-0013, Avanar West Side Square, LLC. That was the amendment to the previously approved preliminary and final major site plan with variances and conditions. That was 1075 West Side Avenue, also known as 80 Broad Street. All in favor of memorializing that?
Aye.
And that concludes it for this evening.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Close the record.
Thank you.
Good night.
Close the record, Eric, right?